Hey guys, I'm Rachel Cruz.
I'm George Camel.
And this is Smart Money Happy Hour. Cheers, George.
Cheers. Oh,
wow.
That is viscous.
Wow. God, that's a lot of alcohol.
This may have cured COVID. We should have tested that out. I think it's still, jury's still out if it can do that.
It's going to do something. We're not sure what this episode, but it's going to do something. Well, this is the show where two friends who happen to be money experts talk about what you're talking about. So everything from pop culture, current events, and money.
Rachel, have you ever felt like you were born in the wrong decade?
Sometimes,
What decade would you be?
Ooh, Titanic, like 1912.
So like fancy rich people?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Where you wear the corset and like the dress and stuff to dinner.
That's nice.
Sounds fun.
You can ask me or
Yeah.
no, it's fine.
George, what decade would you be in?
I'm gonna go 1960s.
Ooh. Are you like a Grease Lightning kind of guy?
No, I was thinking more like Don Draper, big city guy with a. Everyone's wearing
Mad Men?
suits. Yeah.
Mad Men? Yeah.
Like you
I
wore
could see that.
suits when you go on a flight. These days, people are just wearing Crocs and sweats.
And pajamas.
It's disgusting. Have some class. Anyways, feels like our parents and grandparents, they paid for their houses with 2 nickels and a warm hug and a bushel of raspberries. Millennials are out here trying to save up, $90,000 for a down payment and trying to afford therapy so we can cope.
Yeah. So
that's where we're at.
Basically, yeah, different decades cost different things. So we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about what we're going to sip on during this episode, George, we have someone new, but not new to us.
Very old to us, in fact.
Thanks, George.
Not in age. Just we've worked with her for a long time.
Yeah, Kelly, how long have you been at Ramsey?
12 and a half years.
Yes,
Kelly
I know.
Daniel.
She was on the Ramsey show. She was the producer there for many years. Now you're with Dr. John Deloney.
Yep.
And now us.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
How do you feel?
Oh, this is definitely a change of pace from Deloney's show.
It's almost the same show in a sense.
And the Ramsey show. We have
in no way
cocktails.
whatsoever.
Okay. Well, if you watch all the shows on the Ramsey Network, we've got a lot of them, and the Dr. John Deloney show, an incredible show, been popping off, and that's largely in part due to Kelly's producership.
Yeah, wonderful.
So we hope you bring that to our show.
She's going to sit
Make
in
us
and
pop
my
off.
best.
help us out.
But I'm glad to be here.
We're glad you're here, Kelly.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You're going to bring a lot to this show and this episode because we're talking about the 80s.
Talking about my era.
This was your
You
prime.
grew up in the 80s.
I grew up in the 80s, yeah. So I was born in the 70s, and then I grew up in the 80s.
So you're going to bring so much wisdom. I cannot wait.
Well,
So much wisdom.
Unbelievable.
A lot of pressure. All right, let's talk about what we're sipping on. It is a pumpkin spice espresso Martini.
Oh, man. Okay.
A lot of words, and there's a lot going on in here.
That's true. There's just a lot.
So stick around till the end. We're going to give you our rating, reveal the cost per glass at the end of the episode, and of course, the recipes in the show notes, should you be so brave.
So one of the things I keep seeing on social media, George, is people, whether it's memes or videos talking about, oh my gosh, in the 80s, when our parents were buying houses, life was just so much easier. It was so much less expensive. Even if you factor in inflation today and you factor in, price per, square foot, all the things, it just feels like it's easier. And there's a lot of that chatter out there.
That's true. And can you believe it's been 40 years? Like 84?
I still think it's 20 years.
Right?
Isn't that funny how math works
when
in
was
your
84? It was probably like 20 years.
Yeah, 25 years,
ago.
yeah. Because I'm
It's
still
40.
in 2000. Because we were born late 80s.
True.
So we weren't like true 80s kids. We were more 90s kids. But it seems like, not that long ago. But it was 40 years. It's a long
Here's
time.
my thing. It feels like a waste of time to be like, it's not fair because in the 1950s it was a nickel for the. I'm like, yeah, and it's not now. So move on with your life.
Yes, we can't complain about the price of things today. But there are things that we have that our ancestors, not that the 80s are our ancestors.
Our great ancestors. God rest their souls.
I'm feeling the love.
Did you actually use a daguerreotype when you did your high school
That's how I do
portraits?
selfies.
The guy, he had the whole thing over his head when he took the photo in the big box.
No, but I bet that
They had to paint the color because they
Right,
couldn't
well,
get it
we
in the
did
photo.
portraits. I mean, you would sit for a portrait.
It was all watercolor back
Exactly.
then. Beautiful.
Do you know what I'm saying, though?
No, I get
We're
it.
complaining about high prices, but we also have a pretty like easy lifestyle these days. We get, I mean,
Life
if
is a
you
lot
have
better.
a iPhone or a Android, but like a smartphone,
I wouldn't go that far. I
Yeah.
think if you have an Android, I do feel bad for you. Yeah.
but like we have so much, right? So much ease in today's world. So that they
Yes.
did not have back then.
Yeah, they didn't have the option of complaining on their $1,000 smartphone
Yeah,
about
that's
how
right.
hard life is.
Yes, it is true. It is true. So,
So-
we are there. But yeah, like we said earlier, we were both born in the 80s. So before we take a look at the numbers and like all of that, let's just get into the vibes of the 80s, shall we?
All right, hit me.
All right. So here's a little trivia for you. What does VHS stand for?
V is definitely video.
Yes.
The H, let's see. House?
I can
Video?
close. Yeah. I mean,
Close?
basically.
Okay. The S? System. Video house system?
Yep. Video home system.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What a fancy name for something that is not cool anymore. Do you ever like
VHSs.
buy like do the rewind? Do you have a little rewinder when you rented movies from like Blockbuster?
No, we weren't that fancy. We just put them in and just rewound it.
Oh,
like
wow.
its own rewinder. Yeah.
Guess you didn't have all the luxury. All right, here's one for you. Name a popular men's hairstyle from the 80s.
I was gonna say the buzz cut. That's let's go. Oh,
Yes.
it's back, the mullet.
The mullet.
Like-
Morgan Wallen.
And now I feel like it's the baseball kids. Like baseball has like a hairstyle, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it has like it's channeling a little bit of that, but this was like straight mullet. I mean, this was its
And
own special
perms were
thing.
big, right?
Yes.
Did you get a perm, Kelly?
I was born with a perm.
So you don't need one.
No.
Not necessary.
God
No.
gave one to her.
But my prom date did have a mullet.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Did you marry him?
good.
Okay. That was it. That's all the trivia. It was just 2 questions. Nailed it. I thought there was going to be a whole list.
I don't know what I was expecting.
Okay.
Okay, so George, let's just bring it back to today. And off the top of your head, what do we have today that maybe they didn't have when it comes to building wealth?
The internet, where you can just Google like how to build wealth, and you can watch videos from Rachel Cruz and George Camel. That's an amazing thing. Like our parents didn't have access to financial literacy.
Well,
and
any
we have so much
information.
access.
I think about that too.
Yeah.
Parenting, marriage, like all this stuff. Like there's so much information.
You can
just
listen to a
about
podcast
life.
or check out an audiobook or
Yep.
watch a video. And our parents had to go to like the library.
Yes. And encyclopedias. I
Pick up
do
an
remember
old
that.
dusty book.
Having those National Geographic magazines and encyclopedias. So if you had a question,
Britannica.
you go, yes. Oh my gosh.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
So yeah, I think our access to information today is a gold mine. The problem is we have so much information. Now it's how do you cut through the noise? Who do you trust?
Yes, for
That's
sure.
the more difficult part. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing the
Yeah.
technology we have today. How
For
about
sure.
you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. And I think the ability to, we recommend sitting down with like a SmartVestor Pro or an investment professional to help you really with your long-term financial planning, which is really smart. But, and again, we don't endorse it, but I think it is so fascinating that I'm like, you can like have an app and just invest on your phone. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. The
like
DIY
the
side.
ease to be able to get into the markets,
Yeah.
which again can be a curse to some people if they're not great at it. I talked to a guy actually today on the Ramsey show. He lost $14,000 at a single stock on Robinhood that he did. So it was like,
Yikes.
so it can go bad too.
Yeah.
But just the ability to have access that most people have now, which I think is great to a degree, right? If you're knowledgeable on it.
And just side gig economy, the ability to just go make some money.
Yeah.
Just with 17,000 different ways.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Amazing.
All right, I feel better already.
Okay, but part of the internet, though, that a lot of people today are complaining about is just how prevalent it is because it is so much a part of our lives and can have a negative impact, especially when it comes to your information.
Oh yeah, our business is all out there. You know, your data, your personal info, and there's pros and cons to using the internet, but one downside is trying to get all your data off the internet. And that's
Yes.
why we love Delete Me, a sponsor of today's episode. They find and remove your info from hundreds of these data broker websites. People just pay to get Rachel's information. They can use that to scam you and spam you, and we're not a fan of that. And they've saved me 44 hours of time it would have taken me to do all of that myself, and their plans are super affordable and will help prevent those scams from happening.
Yeah, and every quarter they send you a report, which is great because it's very detailed of all these websites they've taken your data off of And it's websites like you wouldn't even know existed.
Sketchy people finder XYZ.
It's wild. It is wild how your information's out there.
Yeah. So go check them out. Go to joindeleteme.com/smartmoney and you'll get 20% off any of their plans, or you can click the link in the description as well.
All right, George, let's have a little fun.
I like fun.
Our producer, Kelly, new producer, Kelly, she's going to give us some different topics and items, and we're going to have to guess how much they were in 1980 versus 2024.
Do they do this on Price is Right? You ever see that when you have to guess the price of the detergent?
Yeah, but they're not comparing it to the 80s,
No, they're
are they?
not. But I just always wanted to play that game.
I would be really good at it. I think I'm going to be good at this game.
So median house price in 1980.
Okay, what's your guess?
Okay, now is, what did I see the other day? 416,000?
I want to say 417.
Oh, I want to say 416. Bob. A dollar, Bob, a dollar.
Okay, and then back in the 80s.
Okay, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go 86,000.
I'm gonna say 50.
All right. So in 1980, it was 47,200.
Jeez.
And now y'all are both very close. The median house price is 412,300.
I won that one because you went over.
You were closer.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's we're neck and neck.
1-1, if anyone's keeping score. Okay.
Literally only you are keeping score. I want you to know that. And reminder for our audience to play along at home. And if you're with someone, you can kind of have some competition.
Oh, yeah, this is good. That's good.
And if you're alone, that's fine. You can still partake. We're your friends.
We are your friends.
So let's break down some of these numbers, Rachel. The median home price of 1940, which is 40 years before 1980, was less than $3,000. Can you imagine that?
Oh my gosh. When
Was this like log cabins? What were they making back in the 40s?
Do you know what I have thought before? I have like this weird like daydream moment of like, what if you were put back in that time? What did you say, 1940?
Yes.
With your money today. We would be like Jeff Bezos.
Bajillionaires.
We'd be like $3,000 for a home.
I would own a monocle. 100%.
I mean, for real though, people would be like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about that?
I've literally never thought about it. It's a weird thing to think about.
Anyways, I have.
It's a great hypothetical.
What if you like did this and you were like back in time, but with what you have today, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have this cell phone that I can like FaceTime.
That is
nobody
weird.
Because nobody else would have.
Well, I
phone.
text my wife yesterday because I didn't have service in a garage. I don't carry a car key, and I said, "Hey, on the phone, I need you to unlock my car." So she went into an app and hit the unlock button, and my car was unlocked. And I was like, "This is insane.
This is
that
crazy.
we live in this kind of world."
It's true. It is true.
So here's how this breaks down: 1940, a home was $3,000. By 1980, it's $47,000. 40 years after that, now it's $412,000. So let's look at the numbers here. An increase from $3K to $47K, that's 15.5 times. Increase from $47 to $412 is 8.5 times.
That's wild.
So it's slowed down, if that's any
And
consolation.
now let's talk about size, George, because it has grown. The average home size has grown 150% since 1980. So the median size of a home was almost 1,600 square feet. In 2018, it was almost 2,400 square feet. In competitive, markets like Nashville, I would say definitely is one of those. People are going towards the newer homes, right? The bigger layouts and all of that. So there's like this assumption, you're just what the average is of 2,400 square feet. If you go smaller than that, people are like, oh, wait, what? So even our expectations, I think, are different too.
Yeah. We want like the marble countertops. We care about aesthetic. Back then it was, there was no luxury to be had.
No. And I think social media has just, really taken one for the team for us.
On
on
the
this
TV
one.
shows and the renovation shows and Instagram and magazines, you just go like, I just want a beautiful home.
Yes. And I do think too, over time, like even the TV shows, there's a level of TV that still feels like out of reach to a degree, right? But when it's like regular people you feel like on your feed that have these like amazing homes and stuff, then you're like, wait, what? You start questioning, what am I doing? So there's something to be said about the comparison culture that is very real when it comes to our homes.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a group of people who feel like they're entitled to, I'm 25, I should just be able to buy a home.
Yeah.
And that may not be the case. You might be in your 30s before you buy your first home, but it doesn't mean you can never do it. You need to get to the place where you're able to do that, which means debt-free, get the emergency fund in place, get a good down payment, and put yourself in a position to do that, even if it's not a year from now.
Yep. Okay, George, here's a question for you.
All right.
Are you drawn to older homes with character and good bones, if you will, or newer homes that have tall ceilings and like more of a layout that's like more spacious, instead of more closed off?
For me personally to live in, I'm going to choose the newer home. I want it to have good bones, but when you think about good bones, it also means like we have to replace the entire electrical system because it was real shoddy.
Right.
So bones, I feel like, is overused to be like, it's got good bones, but we need to replace and gut the entire house.
Sure.
Well, how good are these bones?
Yeah, but the character and stuff, like, you know what I mean? When you walk in, you're like, there's a fireplace that's been there since 1938.
I drive around the suburbs here and I'm like, this is depressing, cookie cutter. Like, I do miss that character.
Yep.
But I also want new luxury I don't have to maintain.
Yep. Okay, how about this one? A smaller home with a big yard or a large house with super close neighbors?
Oh, small house, big yard. I'm not in my yard that much, to be honest.
Will Mia be in your yard soon?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I'm fine with a large house we kind of have close neighbors now. It's not a large house by any means, but I don't mind having neighbors close by as long as it's not a nuisance.
Okay. Fair.
But I don't need total privacy. Like, I don't want to see a single human being.
Yeah. No, I'm not that either. But I do like a good yard. I appreciate a good yard.
For sure. Well, you guys are very outdoorsy. You've got a garden. You've got, the kids are playing. Winston's got his rock
and
garden.
Walk now.
He's big into rocks, rock walls.
We are. We're actually doing a rock wall.
Building a pool.
We are. Yes, we are.
So I get it.
It's happening.
That's important.
I know. Yep. Big yard. I like a big yard.
I didn't have a yard growing up, really. It was kind of rocky and small. So,
okay,
we went in the street and played.
Yeah,
That's where you
kids.
go. Yeah.
Street kids. I love it.
Shoo.
All right, Kelly, next up.
All right, next up, college tuition for 4 years.
Oh, in 1980?
Oh, man. In 1980, I'm going to go $2,500 for a year. And then now I'm going $18,000.
I'll go $3,000 up to $20,000.
Oh.
All right, not quite as cheap as y'all thought. Okay. In 1980, annually, $10,231.
Wait, really?
That's a lot.
Budgeting for inflation.
Oh, okay.
And then today, $28,775. So, George, you were closest.
I won on both.
Oh,
how does that feel?
Shoot.
And since we're keeping score,
it's fine.
I think it's important to know that I'm 3-1.
It's fine. Whatever. It's just a stupid game.
Wow. No, that is crazy. And the good news is you look at these averages and you go, well, that's a lot, that's a little. You get to choose. And college choice is the number one factor.
For sure.
Are you going to go to school debt-free? Are you going to do it the smart way? Or are you going to go to some name brand famous school and drop a crap ton of money and go into student loan debt?
That or even out of state. Because I was looking at in-state tuition for Tennessee, and then I looked up like Florida, Alabama, like neighboring states in the Southeast, and it's literally double if you're an out-of-state student. Even on the University of Tennessee tuition, it's like in-state, out-of-state. And it's basically double. And it's to step over a state line. So to the point, if you don't have the money for that, save half of the tuition by just staying in state.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know what it is about students where they go, I want to go away from home. I want to go across the country to this school over here. There's just this piece of you that wants to like flee and get away from your home state. That's exciting, I think, to them.
Yeah, a little bit of change
And that was part of what I did. I know I did a year in Boston at a state school. Then I took a year off. Then I went down to Mobile, Alabama and finished school at a private Christian school over there. Went to student loan debt. I have regrets. But here I am today. I'm sort of using my degree.
What was your degree in?
Communication.
Mine too!
Look at that.
George!
Just two friends communicating.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So yeah, it took me a while to get out of student loan debt. If I had to do it again, I would have chosen more wisely. I would have had the conversation with my parents earlier.
Can we be honest though for a second?
Sure. Well, have we been lying this whole time?
For real though. And I don't want to be unkind to the University of Tennessee's educational program because it's wonderful and great. But I don't know what I learned in college and literally are using today.
That's fair. I would agree with that. 100%. The only thing that I think was helpful was we did a public speaking class where we had to do speeches in front of the class.
Oh, I did that. No problem.
But you know what I mean? Like those are actually you're getting some real experience, getting in front of people, having to prepare a speech.
Yeah.
The rest, I had a 75-year-old guy trying to teach us about social media and marketing and the internet. I'm like, bro, we got it.
I know. Isn't that funny?
So yeah, it was largely a waste.
I mean, I hate to say it, but genuinely. And again, I think there are definitely some degrees that you do learn what you need.
The
But
community and network that I had there is what led me to this place.
oh, that's a good, okay.
People undervalue that piece of it. They overestimate, well, the education is, no,
Yes.
it's about what you do with your time there, what skills you grow, and then the people you meet.
Yep, I know, but I thought about that the other day. I was like, man, I don't know what communication taught me. It was like real life experience. That's what's going to teach you.
It was like small group communication theory. I'm like, I don't know what this even means.
Yeah, I had to write like a 12-page paper in my COM 499 class, I remember.
Ugh.
And I'm like, I don't know. So anyways, that was good. Okay,
God
just making
bless.
sure. Is anyone using what they learned in a college class today? We got even. Oh, we have so. Okay, we got a 1, we got a
That's
2, we got a
good.
3. Oh yeah, all right.
Well, our friend Ken Coleman, here's the 2 questions he likes to ask. Is it the only way and is it the best way? Mm-hmm. If it is, then sure, go to college, do it right, go debt-free.
Because I do think when you're 18, 19, 20, you're young still. So like if you can
don't really
still
know.
be in somewhat of a guided program in life, like I think that's good. I think that's healthy.
Yeah, unless you know exactly, I want to go into this trade, I want to go into the workforce.
Totally,
I want to
yeah.
start this business.
Yeah. But overall, I'm not like, oh, college is terrible, because it's not.
Yes.
I think it's good.
It's just less of a waste of time if you do it debt-free.
Very much so. Very
There you
much
go.
so. All right, Kelly, next.
All right, up next, mortgage interest rates.
Oof. Well,
Oh,
now
man.
I know they're in the, 6 to 7% range?
No, they dropped. 15-year mortgages are now at 5.2%.
We're in the fives.
We're in the fives now. We just got that
And the
update
30,
today.
is the 30 still at 6? The 30 year?
I don't know. We were quoting the 15, so I'm not
Wow.
100% sure.
Okay.
But I'm going to go, I think it said 5.2, I think is what we quoted on the show today.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like it dropped today. Hot take, hot news.
The
hot
day
off the
that we're
press,
recording
that's
this.
what they say.
By
Hot
the
off
time they're
press.
watching this, it could be wildly different.
We're not sure, so just don't take it. Okay, and now, 1981, I think they were nuts back then.
That's when it was crazy.
18%?
Yeah, I
I'm going
remember
18.
Dave Ramsey talking about 18% rates. So I'm going to go 18.1, Bob.
Man, you suck.
And he wins that because it was 18.63.
Yes.
You would be great at Price is
I
Right.
didn't make up the
Jeez.
rules.
Well, why do I always go first? I need to go
That was your
second.
decision.
I need to go second next time.
Miscommunication major. Maybe communicate
Well,
after I do next time.
And today's, we have 6 to 8%, but this was written, a day or
yes,
two
I know.
ago.
I think literally today they dropped.
Way to have your finger on the pulse. So that's 1 point.
good.
I'll give you a point for that. We'll split it.
That's right. Are you up on the data of the economy, George? And you're not,
The
so I get a
data of
point.
the So just for fun, let's walk through an example here. If you bought a house for $47,000 in 1981 at an 18.63% interest rate, and you put the standard 20% down with a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage loan, you're looking at a $625 monthly payment, plus taxes and insurance.
I mean, for back then, yeah, that's a hefty payment.
I mean, you're probably under $1,000 with all of that, with taxes and insurance.
Yeah.
So now you would have paid $75,000 in interest alone over those 15 years. So that's the kicker with 18%.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a lot, that 18% adds up. That's like a credit card interest rate at that point.
Totally.
And according to census.gov, median family income during that time was $22,390. So that monthly housing payment of $625, that would eat up about a third of someone's monthly income. Mm-hmm. And today we're still seeing similar numbers. So I think it just helps to go, okay, they weren't making much, the prices were lower, but it's all kind of been graduating
Going up,
at
yeah.
a similar
yeah.
pace. Mm-hmm. So if you bought a house today at $412,000, 6.5% interest rate, 10% down, since that's what most people can afford, throughout the same 15-year loan, you'd pay around $3,200 a month.
Dang.
That's a lot. And it's roughly 51% of the average household income today, which is around $75,000.
Yeah.
So it's true.
We
that
do have it harder.
The percentages are more difficult, it's a
Today,
bigger pill to
yes.
swallow.
So sorry, boomers.
So yeah, don't
But-
act like it was so difficult for you.
There
Uphill
is
both
oh my
ways.
gosh. But it is still possible. It's just going to look different in today's numbers. It is.
Yeah, and the rates aren't helping because it does
Yeah.
add a whole lot when you've got a 7% rate versus 4%.
And still, y'all, it is still reaping what was affected during COVID. I mean, honestly, when there was all that shutdown, everything was happening because of the pandemic. I mean, that slowed down housing, lumber. I mean, do you remember all of that? I mean,
Yeah.
it was a solid
Chaotic.
9-10 months of like just that chaos. And I mean, honestly, part of that in our housing shortage still today is if, I mean, I do. I'm like, you look at the domino effect of what happens and this is it. So I hate that we
Yeah.
reap all
the
of
other
this
part-
because of our world today, but it is. It's part of it.
You're talking about supply and demand. The other issue here is that people got a 3% rate and then went, cool, I'm not selling. Because if I sell, I got to go pick up a 6% rate now.
Yes.
So that's also causing
People are staying
less
in their
inventory
homes.
on
That's
the market.
right. Absolutely. Yep. So the inventory, there is still a
It's a
shortage.
weird standstill.
It is. It is. So we're still feeling it. So that means just it may take you longer to get into a home and adjust your expectations. That's always the thing you have to remember. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but it is the reality.
You got to
right?
compromise on
Yeah,
where we
it is
live, what
tough.
house we get, when
Yeah.
we're going to get it, all of that. All right.
All right. Last one is average car price.
Ooh, this is fun.
In 1980,
Yes.
what was the average car price?
For like a new car.
Right.
I'm going to say $6,000.
I'm going to say $6,001, Bob.
You can't do that.
What about now?
And now
Oh,
the
now-
average price for a new car,
I'm going 32,000.
I'm going 35.
All right. In 1980, it was $7,574. So Rachel gets that point.
Where'd you get that strategy from?
The Price is Right and Bob Barker. Don't you take my credibility away.
Wow.
Go ahead.
And today's average car price is $48,401.
Oh my gosh, really?
What are these people buying? It do be expensive, but that's you don't have to buy a $48,000 car just because that's the average price of new cars.
No, but man, that is, yeah, because that's
That
factoring in
hurts.
everything from your Mercedes
Let's
to the
look at
Honda
the
Civic. I mean, all of it, yeah.
let's look at the numbers here. In 1980, that new car would have cost 34% of the annual household income on average. Today, a new car is more like 65% of the average family's annual household income.
Ouch.
That stings. But I feel like cars have long been a scam, and now it's just getting worse
Well, I don't know
because
if it's
we have more access to loans.
that, but I also think cars are well made. I follow the Car Mom. I don't know if you follow her on Instagram.
Oh.
She's great.
No.
I've had her on my show before. But she says this a lot because this is all she does is car content. But she says cars last so much longer these days. They do. Like, it can.
I thought it was
she
one of
like,
those, they don't make them like they used to.
No, she would say, like, if a car's hitting 200,000, you're fine. Like, back then, it would be like, oh, God, it's going to start, like, falling apart. She's like, but they will last. And a well-made car, right? You
Reliable
go
make and
Honda.
model.
So you just want to go to those reputable car brands. And, yeah, they will last longer. They will. But I don't know. I don't think they don't make them like they used to anymore.
And car payments have become so prevalent. Everyone just goes, well, you'll always have a car payment. Might as well pick up another one at $600 instead of $500 to get the fancier car.
Yeah, so do you think that's the scam? People are willing just to go into debt, so it's raising prices because people are willing to spend more and more and
just
more
like
and
what
more.
happened with college tuition.
Same thing.
Student loans were easily accessible.
Yeah.
The government backed it. So Sally Mae is like, sure, you can have $100,000.
Yeah, I know, but that's the government backing it. I mean, the auto industry, I do think is different though, because with technology, all of that, it's got to be more expensive today to build a car.
It is.
Right?
But I still think there's a lot of just like, well, people are willing to pay more so we can
we'll just
charge,
charge more.
When you look at dealerships and the fees they're adding
Yeah,
on,
it's fair.
it's
fair.
I don't like it. So stick to a used car in cash. A few years old, it's going to do just fine. And unless you're a millionaire, do not buy a new car.
Love it.
Capiche?
Capiche.
That's good advice.
Capiche.
Time-tested wisdom.
Okay, so let's do some rapid fire 1980s versus today, George,
Okay.
shall we?
Yeah, just so you know, I'm still 4-2.
You ready?
Yep.
Gas prices,
$1.
$1.22. Good guess.
Not bad. All right, next up, cost of a movie.
Oh, we're going $1.75.
$2.69.
Okay. Concert ticket,
$15.
15, 13.
Whoa.
I'm not on your team, but that was really good.
Thank you. And no fees back then, I bet.
Yeah.
Ticketmaster didn't exist yet.
Boo.
Cost of a TV in 1985.
Okay, I think it's more expensive than it was today. I bet.
I agree.
God, $600?
$500. That was
So
pretty close
close.
for a 20-inch color
Okay.
TV.
Wow.
But you also had to buy a set at the time, which was around $1,200, which adjusted for inflation.
Okay.
So you got speakers, the TV, that whole bit.
Yes. All right.
Today, that's like a state-of-the-art purchase. Like those Samsung frames, those really fancy ones that
those
are super
cool.
expensive.
Super cool.
But I do feel like technology back then, like a computer, cost way more.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're just kind of cheaply made. There's planned obsolescence, so they know the technology is going to get
yeah. So not
just
making them as well.
revamped super quick.
So good.
They don't make it like they used
They
to.
don't make them like they used to, George.
That's
okay.
why I don't like spending a lot on technology because you know it's going
Would you
to.
turn back time?
Is this a share reference?
Maybe. Would
Sing
you
it.
though? Would you go? Would you live in 1980 or would you live in 2024?
For mental health, I think it'd be better. to be back in the 80s.
For sure. I'm going 80s, y'all.
But as
I think
far
they
as
were just
like
happier back then.
convenience and quality of life in general, like all the amenities and accoutrements,
You're going today?
I'd go today.
I'm going 1980. Kelly, what would you do?
Having grown up in the 80s, I mean, it was a great time to grow up, but I kind of like my creature comforts.
Don't you think
Okay, so
part
you're
of it is
saying-
nostalgia that people just think that time was better?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Because it's their most
Yeah, but
formative
it was
moments
so
and years?
simple, though. Would you, okay, anyone else go back to 1980 or is everyone staying here? Oh, okay, we got some. Okay, we got
Says the
three, four,
person
we
that
got this.
exclusively shops from her phone on Amazon. It was so simple. All you had to do was get in your car, go to a store, and hope they had
I
a clothing
know.
that you liked. You had to spend a whole day.
You know, I do. I think simpler times. I'd go back. Wow. I would.
She'd go back
I think
before
it's
she
just
even
too
was
much.
alive.
It's too much today. It's too much.
I do think humanity, we've gone too far.
We have gone too far because what's crazy too, George, you think about even just in my lifetime, and you go back and I was rewatching Laguna Beach, came back on Netflix.
Simpler times indeed.
Y'all, that was like 2004, I'm going to guess. I don't know. I was like late high school. And that was like one of the first reality shows. We had Real World and Road Rules, I remember, still on MTV. But like Laguna Beach was like the first, like, I don't know, teenager, real life. I'm going to just follow you with a camera in your real life. And I remember watching it and we thought that these kids like had it all. We were like, oh my God, they are just
What was the lifestyle?
so
in that
wealthy.
show?
You know, I don't know. I just remember feeling that way watching it. And then you look back, and again, they're in Laguna Beach, like probably some of the most expensive properties. So I'm not like saying that. But you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, they were like driving old cars. Like
Very
one of the
normal.
episodes, one of the girls' cars breaks down in the smoking because it's old. Like they're wearing Hollister. Like they were not bougie people. And then you go to today, like Bravo, and you're watching Real Housewives, and they all live in like mansions and flying private jet. It's
Designer
so extreme.
purses.
And if you had asked me before, probably a year ago and said, was Laguna Beach, were they living the same life as like Real Housewives today? I'd be like, yeah, because in my head, it was so bougie. And you look back now, you're like, it wasn't. Like even back then, the bougie was not that bougie. And that was in 2006,
That's
2004.
true. When you think about all the
20
new,
years ago,
new
like-
fancy stuff that existed in the 80s, we'd look back at that now and be like, ugh, I don't want that for free.
Even in 2004. Like
Yeah.
it just was not, I don't know. It's just weird. It's a different world.
I just think it's harder to live in the present now than it was back then.
Yes. To enjoy what you have.
Well,
I know.
and we didn't have, social media to go, here's all the things you don't have, and we're going to push it in your face every single day.
Yes,
Back then,
totally.
you just had to, like, you saw what your neighbors were doing.
Yep.
It's about it and your friends. Mm-hmm. Now you can see the whole world at your fingertips. I just think it's too much. We weren't meant to have this much information and power and technology at once.
No, they're saying that. Like scientifically, it's coming out that like we're not supposed to know what's happening on the other side of the globe. Like we can't handle like in our bodies and our brains like the world. So
I just think there's still hope for people's money for a lot of reasons. There's a lot that's not in our control. And what we're talking about today is really inflation. And
Yeah.
yes, we can't control inflation if it's going to be 2.5% or 9% and things are more expensive. But we also have to remember that we can control going into debt and our lifestyle and our spending and how much money we make. We can improve in our careers, work extra, make compromises and sacrifices for a short period of time. So I still think this is the greatest time to be alive in general.
sure.
Because of all of those things. And yes, it's a bummer that the prices ain't like they used to be.
Right, right.
But move on.
I think that's it too. I think there is a level of like, here's the reality. We can kind of like mope and be like, oh my God, this sucks right now. And then what are you going to do? Right?
What are you going to do?
It's the next step. The next step is what's important. And we do believe in hope around here. And we see it every day though, George. We see people from every demographic, every part of America. I mean, anything. And people are doing it. Like they're getting out of debt. They're getting savings. They're paying off their houses. I mean, like crazy stuff. So it can be done because we see it. We see it every
No matter
single day.
what generation you are. And every generation thinks they're the best and the other ones don't get it. And, the millennials don't like the boomers and Gen Z thinks the millennials are lame. And I'm like, enough with the generational wars and stop blaming the boomers for all of your life problems because guess what? You're going to inherit all their wealth one day. So you should be real nice to them before they take you out of the will.
There you go.
But there's a generational wealth transfer coming as well. So there's something to be hopeful about.
There you go.
If
Just
your parents
wait for death.
if your parents did the right things financially, you will benefit. And my daughter will benefit from my financial choices.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
Be hopeful. That's all I'm saying.
it's true. All right. Well, it's almost the end of the episode. And we close out every episode with Guilty as Charged. And this is where our producer, Kelly, gives us a new Guilty as Charged question every week. And if we are guilty, we take a sip, which I have been sipping on mine, and I'm liking it more and more. I'm not going to lie.
Wow.
All right. Have you ever made a special request at a fast food restaurant to make sure that your food is fresh and hot?
Wow.
Never. I didn't even know that was a thing. All right. Nope. I just go Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich and fries. Taco Bell, 2 soft tacos, nachos and cheese. I can go through my whole order. Shalotsky's, #1 without black olives. Oh, I do that one.
Firehouse.
Firehouse, the Italian, fully involved. Medium.
Oh.
Wheat on wheat. I can give you all my
You're
fast
so
fooders.
proud of your choices.
Now, Sonic, I've switched it up, but
To what?
I won't go there. I used to get the bacon cheeseburger because it's so good. Sonic has great cheeseburgers. But I'm going chicken sandwich these days. They
Look
have a
at
good,
you.
Yeah, they got a good
What a
chicken
health
sandwich.
nut.
I know. Chick-fil-A, I go wrap with fries
Okay.
and a lemonade. What do you do?
I've made special. I wouldn't call
What does
it
that mean?
annoying.
What does that mean? I don't get
Well,
it.
here's
You
an
don't just order
example.
off the menu.
At McDonald's, if you say, hey, can I get fries, no salt, they generally have to get you a fresh batch from the fryer because they
You
already
don't
had
want
salted their
salt
fries.
on it, though? It's so good.
Here's the deal. The ones that have the salt have been sitting there for Lord knows how long. So if you say no salt, you can add your own. Ask for a little packet of salt.
Okay, but you get some fresh fries.
But they're like real fresh, real crispy. So there's
Okay.
one example. The other example is at Chick-fil-A, I would ask for well done fries. They stopped doing this, I think, because they were annoyed by me. Like globally, they don't do this. But well done fries would ensure that your fries were hot and crispy. Because you ever get Chick-fil-A fries and like
I know,
these
they're
are
a little soggy.
It's like,
I know, it
how
can
long have these been
happen.
sitting out? And it's in the to-go bag and the condensation.
It can happen,
So yeah, I'm
yeah.
persnickety about my.
Yeah.
I don't need to eat a ton of fast food, but when I do, I'm choosy.
What's your what is acceptable to you? I'm gonna say kava.
Oh, fast casual, I'm a big fan of.
Okay.
So like a Chipotle,
Chipotle, Kava.
What are the other ones?
Are there any drive-through window restaurants that you're like, oh yeah, I would go there like and not feel bad about it?
Not feel bad about it health-wise?
And emotionally.
Oh, emotionally. I will say like higher quality, not saying like
Chick-fil-A.
ingredients-wise. As far as quality,
It's better.
it's better.
Yeah.
Culver's is another one that I think people sleep on.
Y'all, the cheese curds at Culver's are
Wow.
so good. They are so good.
It looks like this changed your life. I've never seen this much joy come from you.
Because I was on a road trip and I saw a Culver's and I was like, I'm gonna swing in there. And I went in because the drive-through was too long and I just ordered cheese curds and went back to my car
That's
and
a
kept driving.
good example. Like, what on a road trip would you be stoked to see? Because you got your
In-N-Out.
standard. Oh my gosh!
'Cause we
In-N-Out,
don't- 'cause
that'd
we
be
don't have-
amazing.
I know, we don't have
We're
In-N-Out.
getting one down the street
It's
next
happening,
year.
it's happening.
In-N-Out's another great example. I think
So
it,
good.
like quality, the taste, the price, it's all there
Yep,
for me
so
at
good.
In-N-Out. But other than that, I try to. It's nothing excites
Subs,
me.
though, you don't go sub.
I'll do a sub, but being gluten free now, you got to find the place that has a gluten free sub, or you do a lettuce wrap and it's just this like weird wet mess. You know? Yeah. Thank you. Have some empathy for me. So that's one reason it's harder to eat fast food. It's just there's
That's
not a
fair.
lot I can eat.
And I'll say this: I don't eat a ton of it. I just sounded like
No,
I
you
did.
made it clear. you can start
But
your
I
own
do
like account.
I do like fast food. But I eat a lot of protein. I eat 2 eggs in the morning. I mostly eat
You don't need to defend your life choices.
healthy, but I do like fast food. It does not bother me.
I'm proud of you. I do. I think the Chick-fil-A kids meal is still up there for me. Do grilled nuggets, fries. I swap the toy for an ice cream.
And then there you go.
That's a big
Full meal.
hack.
So great. All right, George. I finished first. I just kept sipping, and it
I
got
cannot
better.
believe.
It got better.
How?
I don't know.
Or did the ingredient just really hit eventually and went, this is good?
I don't know.
All right.
I did like it. The pumpkin was not very strong, which I was thankful for because I am not a pumpkin
Let
fan.
me get a second opinion before I give you my thoughts.
Have you not taken a sip at all this whole?
I have. It's fine. I would never order this, but it's a
It's-
pumpkin spice
yeah.
espresso martini. What is your rating?
6 out of 10.
Wow, that's generous. I'm going
It was more
1
than
out
I
of
thought.
10. 1 out of 10.
Wow. Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just harsh. It's got bourbon, Bailey's Irish cream, espresso, and pumpkin butter. The cost breakdown is $4.06 per glass, which That ain't cheap for our drinks. I mean, that's up there.
Yeah, that is.
But I think it's the Bailey's Irish Cream has that's got some harshness.
Yeah.
Bourbon's got some harshness to it. Espresso's bitter. The pumpkin butter is what's sweetening this up. It's not what I'm all about.
Yep.
It's just too thick. I don't like a thick,
here's my
viscous
thing.
drink.
It's not an 8, 9, or 10 for me because I would not order it at a restaurant. But if I was at a friend's house and they were like, oh yeah, here's like a fall themed party and we have these, I would drink one. A 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the rating scale for me, I would say I'll pass. I'll make something else.
I would take a few sips.
So I would take it.
I'd go to the bathroom and I would dump it, rinse the sink, and I'd come back and be like, that was so good.
That was so good. Thanks for making that espresso martini.
You did such a good job, Rachel.
Oh my gosh.
Well, hey, if you trust Rachel, go get the recipe in the show notes. And if you trust me, just skip it.
Just skip it.
I prefer a normal espresso martini.
I would agree with that. That's a 10 out of 10 for me. All right, George, it's closing time. So if you guys have enjoyed this episode, thanks always for listening and watching. We appreciate you staying to the end. Share it with friends, with family, people that you think would enjoy this show.
Share it with people that don't like you. I think it's even better.
What?
You know what I mean?
No.
You never done that before?
People that don't like me and I share the show with them?
Yeah.
Wait, what? No.
I do it all the time.
Wait.
It's called a hate share. All right, I thought other people did this.
Wait.
You share, it's an echo chamber. If you just share with people that you like, that like the show, you're not going to spread the word that way.
Do you genuinely have people in your phone that don't like you and you share episodes of podcasts and YouTube shows
Not
with them?
Not specifically podcasts, but like pictures, a video, a link to an article. Okay, this was a trend that happened. People would send, like if I knew that you were a big Trump fan.
Okay.
I can send you fake mail that says like, thanks for supporting the Biden campaign. You know what I mean? Like it's trolling.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. It's in that vein. I'm just saying, try it. I don't know anyone who doesn't like me.
Okay. Oh, so you're meaning, okay, I hear what you're saying now. You're saying to the listener or viewer, send it to someone that doesn't like us.
Potentially.
Oh, I thought you meant like that doesn't like them.
I don't know. I don't know a lot of people. How would you know if someone doesn't like you unless they've told you? Do you know people who don't like you?
I'm in the Twilight Zone. No, everyone likes me. I'm nice.
She's so nice. Everyone loves a Rachel.
No. Okay, if you have people in your life that don't like you, send them this episode.
Well, then maybe they'll
George.
like you. They're like, oh, wow, they sent me a podcast they enjoyed. That's cool of them. You know? Build a bridge. Build a bridge is all I'm saying.
This makes no sense.
Be the podcast you want to see in the world. All right.
Subscribe, like it, comment, anything just to help us out.
If you like this one, we have a lot of other episodes. We've done over 100. Somehow the show has survived. So watch the other ones.
Yep. And we have a new one out every Thursday. So we'll see you next Thursday on an all new episode of Smart Money Happy Hour.